I'm making my favorite homemade bread. Would you like a copy of the recipe? Oh, I've got you. It's already growing. Keep going. I'm making my favorite homemade bread. This is my wheat multigrain bread. Yeah. So good. Would you like to learn how to do this too? Click the link. Want a copy of the recipe? Click the link. I'll show you how. Go on, go grab it. I'll be right here waiting for you, okay? Meantime, I'm gonna keep mixing. See, why do I make homemade breads? Oh, honey, I make homemade breads because literally it just gives me so much peace and comfort in my heart, and it's something I need. I love to do it. Did I always make homemade bread? Oh, absolutely not. No. Not always. Not always. In fact, I learned the hard way of how to do this. I learned from an old recipe book, in fact. The worst way in the world for me to learn. Like, can you relate? Tell you. Favorite part of baking homemade bread? Oh, I don't know if I have a favorite part. Oh, honey, I just don't know if I do. I don't think there is a favorite part. I love all of it. All the way from watching the yeast grow. It's like a volcano. The beauty of the science and the magic and the spirits behind it all raising up. Beautiful. And the history. Oh, you want history. You want to talk about history, honey? The art of bread baking. Oh my God. There's so much history though. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. There's so many different things that you can learn through the history of baking homemade breads from all the different grains from all across the world and all the different cultures. It's beautiful, my dear. Oh, so much we can learn. So much. The simple science goes into it. Possibly even the spiritual and the magical aspects of the spirit raising the bread. Did you know, history-wise, little fact, science, history, mixed together. Science, history, and religion all mixed together. Way back when, say, 1500s or so, especially during the Tudor age, over in England, for example, and all of that, the Dark Ages especially. Oh, okay, so, did you know that when they got their wild yeast, it came from the wheat itself? Nothing, no added, all the goodies and everything else. It came from the wheat itself. Putting it in and removing the husks and grinding there's just so much that goes into it. Oh my gosh. So, they did all this and every part had practices. There were religious and spiritual practices that were done for everyone, and they were all dictated by the cycle of the moon and the season and what the stars read and all the things, okay? So they harvested under the harvest moon would go through and they'd work it all up, grind it all down, separate it all out, whacking the wheat. Oh, what a laborious job. If you've never done that, that's a laborious job. Okay, so did all that, and then after they finally had milled flour, now nothing like a flour that we are all accustomed today, a far more grainy flour. It's like working with sand almost. They'd soak it. They put the water in, they put the flour in, they'd soak it, they just let it sit. Then they'd carry it out with flowers and offerings to God and the spirits of the earth. And they'd take their bowl and they'd lay it out in their hayfield, or preferably under an apple tree. And they'd let it sit there and rest. Sitting in the sunlight, the sun kept it warm, and the water would release the yeast, the natural wild yeast that's in your flour itself, would release it into the water and throughout, and the water would capture the floating yeast that floated by. And when they returned back with prayers of gratitude to God and to the spirits, they would take up their sacred bowl of yeast starter, of their pre-starter, and carefully bring it into their homes and begin to mix in the goodies. History. Do you know why they thanked God and the spirits? They thanked God and the spirits because they believed that the rising of their dough, the gathering of the yeast, they believed it was actually capturing the souls of spirits ascending to heaven. And God allowed man to capture them for a moment in their dough, which would make it rise as the spirit was trying to rise to heaven. And during the baking process, the spirit was released and allowed to continue to ascend to God himself. Back to the heavens, back to the universe, and continue its travel to the other side. History. History, science, religion, spirits, practices. It's all kind of interesting. So, regardless of what you believe, know that religion, regardless of what religion you had or have still to this day, every time you pick up a piece of bread, it is said to bring you closer to God, the gods, spirits, and the universe. That your ancestors talk through the bread itself, as it is still believed in some places, as history believed that it was the spirits of their ancestors inside the dough itself that gave them food, that gave them the bread of life. And the mead that we all have cherished for so many thousands of years. That's why mead or alcohol and bread are found worldwide, culture-wise, from the godly to the spiritual. Why there are so many sacred lessons learned, so many sacred ceremonies revolving bread and meat, bread and wine. So, next time you make bread, might not hurt to give a little thanks to the ancestors and those that came before you, to those that have passed. Because as history showed us, history repeats. And there's a grain of truth that's hidden in all history lessons. Although distorted and changed to suit the needs of those using it. Just random information, random facts that you might find interesting. My dear, if you want to learn how to make this, go grab the recipe. Click the link. I'm gonna continue to make the best homemade bread that was inspired by my ancestors, to those that lived on this land that I call home now, before me, during these more wild days and years, during those harder times, that we're a little closer to God and the spirits that we are today, for the good and the bad of it all. Remember to smile, my dear, because you're beautiful when you do. And when you smile, it allows your heart and your soul to find just a little touch of happiness every now and then. Even if you can't quite explain it. Can you explain whether or not there's actual spirits rising from our dough? No, you can't. Can we tell for absolute sure or not if there's actually spirits inside of our meat? No. But it does raise the spirits inside you, your own personal inner spirit and happiness. Not my typical video, y'all, but I thought it would be fun. I thought it'd be interesting, and it might just intrigue you. Don't forget your salt. I keep forgetting salt lately. Almost done with this part. Did you know salt keeps away the evil spirits?
Hey, Mom.
The unwanted spirits?
Mom.
Or as some believe.
Mama.
It also is cleansing.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Mom. I know salt.
And you know salt?
Yeah. The kind of salt like tastes like.
And technically, it's easier to add your salt before you add all the extra flour, y'all.
Hey, Mom.
This is one of those most favorite parts for me about making homemade breads. Because at this moment, when I've got my hands literally in the dough, like, I'm in the dough, man. It's sticking to me and it's goopy all over. This is how I find my zen, honey.
Hello?
This brings me peace and comfort in my heart, my soul. So it's in this moment I'm able to completely forget about all the problems in life. I'm not worried about what's going on 10 minutes from now. I'm not worried about what I haven't gotten done. In this one moment, it's just me and the bread. It's just me literally pouring my heart, my soul, my love into it. Because I know that this is going to feed my family. It's going to nourish us inside and out. It's going to bring comfort all the way through us all. Yes, I will. Just one moment, honey. My hands are all goopy. Goopy, yes.
Look, I got to wipe the
It's
dough
also
off.
a fun
Hey, Mom.
moment to let your kids in
Hey, Mom.
and let them help too.
Hey, Mom. Look, I have a copy to wipe the dough off. A hair brush to wipe the dough off. Mom, I need something in my pocket. I need. It's working. It's working for mine. They're going. When I wipe the toaster,
Ella. Don't just stick your hand. Don't do that. Don't do that.
what about the door?
Hey, grab your stools. Do you want to come through?
I got.
Okay, pull your sleeves up.
Let me
Sleeves.
see.
Good job. No pinching. Okay, now we gotta turn. Turn. Now, lift. And push. Okay, up. Turn. Lift.
Hey, Mom.
And push.
That's it. Mom.
Yes.
I already know these tricks.
Good job. Good job.
And push. Pinch
No,
and push.
no pinch. Turn. Lift.
And
Push.
And pinch and push.
There's no pinching involved.
Let's go with the trick. You know what tricks do. I know the trick. Pinch and push.
Okay.
A pinch, a push, a pinch. Pinch and push.
A little slower going with kids,
Yeah. Easier.
but they get to enjoy the benefits of it too. And you're also teaching them patience. You're teaching them how to relax and focus on just one thing at a time. Oh, as a parent, can I ask you, when was the last time you focused on just one thing and nothing else? Especially mamas. Yeah, that's very, very difficult to do. There's always so many things going on. This is how you get back to your roots. This is how you get back to your heart.
I gotta wipe it down the flower.
This is how you find a true happiness inside yourself. This is my way anyway. One of my ways.
Day. Push it off.
No, can't even find it.
I was wiping the sticky dough.
Yes, but you do that over the bowl. Over the bowl. Uh-oh. Okay, hop down, Bubba. Off the counter. Off the counter. Okay. Good job. Now, down before you fall. Hop down. Thank you. Can you gently wipe the counter off and put this flour down? Step up. With this. Alright, girls. It's done. Nope, don't put that in here. Every time you give this a So if you're just starting to learn how to make homemade breads, here's a tip for you. So if you're new to making handmade breads and you're just never sure if your dough is actually done, did you know this is one of the #1 problems that home bakers, new home bakers make? Even some old time bakers make. They don't knead their bread the right amount of time. Now, the particular way I make this bread, it does have a tendency to instantly start ripping. And that's because I've got a whole bunch of old-time secrets mixed in there. If you're not sure when your dough is done, you need to look at the texture of it. So, you see, this is all ripping and lovely and beautiful. This says the glucose is fully released from this dough, okay? But you notice it's not very stretchy yet, which means it doesn't have enough fine flour added to it. So even though the glucose is out, it still needs a little bit more help. But having said that, I don't want to knead this much more because otherwise it's going to turn it stiff. But I've also got to have that flour-water combination at just the right amount. Now bread is beautifully forgiving. And it's a good thing mamas are too. When you have the perfect combination of water and flour ratio in your dough, it's going to give you the best texture, the best soft chewiness, okay? It's going to hold and retain its moisture, but that also depends on your knead. How long you knead it for. If you knead it enough, if you don't knead it enough, you over knead your bread, well, it's going to lose moisture. Which is actually why, technically, you don't want to work your dough until it starts ripping. You want to stop just before it turns into this ripping mess down here. But if you don't have enough flour in there, it's going to rip a lot easier. And it takes a little more working. So sometimes. Now if you're making a whole wheat bread, here's your times. Knead for 8 to 10 minutes. If you are making a 50-50 mix, so it's half white, half wheat, which is what I call a half wheat bread, but technically most everybody calls whole wheat bread. Okay. Then you generally want to only knead for 5 to 7 minutes. If you are making a white bread, depending on the fineness of your grind, you may only have to knead for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. It doesn't take much. But whole wheats, fresh ground, those all take a lot more because they're coarser and they're harder to grain. It takes more work to get the moisture to penetrate into it, to get it to soften up, to get it to release all those yummy glucoses, and to let it release all those beautiful, complex flavors inside of a wheat berry. Especially multigrains. Oh, honey. That's beautiful. Now this is damn near a whole wheat bread, a true whole wheat that I'm making today. So I have 6 cups of whole wheat flour in this, along with multiple different grains, whole grains and milled. And right now, I'm simply working in not quite a cup, just shy of a cup of all-purpose unbleached flour. And all that's doing is it's taking those coarse grains that don't like to stick together and working like glues, pull it together. And we're finally starting to get our bread texture. And it's a good thing because this bread's starting to get stiff, which means it's made its turn. And the glucose is all released. Over the bowl. Thank you. All right, give me one little more small one. Just a small one. Good job. Yep. Thank you.
Hey, Mom.
So, this last little bit of flour will be the last of it that I need to get this to the right texture. To get this to the right consistency of flour, whole grains versus fine grains, soft grains versus hard grains, and water to flour. Stay tuned and I'll show you the results.